Thank you. Toda rabba, dear friends, sisters and brothers. Achiotai ve'chai. I'm here to tell you, Am Yisrael Chai. And no one will deter us. No one. This morning, soon after my wife Michal and I landed in Sydney, we went directly to Bondi Beach. At the memorial site, we placed 2 stones from Jerusalem and stood in silence, thinking of the lives that were taken. We thought of Rabbi Eli, of Matilda, Boris and Sophia, Edith, Reuven, Tanya, Marika, Rabbi Yaakov, Adam, Tibor, Peter, Dan, Boris, and Alexander. 15 innocent lives, Jewish and non-Jewish, gunned down by cruelty, by hate, by evil, by extremism. Dozens more were wounded as the Australian people and the Jewish people worldwide were left with trauma. The physical and emotional scars from December 14th will forever be part of our 2 nations. May the Almighty comfort you all amongst the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. המקום ינחם אתכם בין שאר אבלי ציון וירושלים. Dear friends, I'm honored to join this beautiful community, which includes bereaved families of Bondi, accompanied by bereaved families from Israel. We've longed to see you and to grieve with you, and we come bearing the prayers of your Israeli family. Thank you, my dear friend Jeremy Liebler, President of the Zionist Federation of Australia, for your leadership, for your warm introduction, for your integrity, and for procuring so many elements of this visit. Thank you, Your Excellency, Governor of New South Wales, Margaret Beasley, and the Honorable Premier Chris Minns, true friends of this wonderful community. The Honorable Scott Morrison, former Prime Minister of Australia, the Honorable Ron Hernig, MP, Minister for Local Government, Israel's Ambassador to Australia, Amir Maimon, a very fine public servant of Israel who will be completing his term this week, and we thank him for his outstanding service. I welcome with me Chairman of the World Zionist Organization, Yaakov Chaguel, Chairman of the Jewish Agency for Israel, Doron Almog, and Chairperson of the Fund for Victims of Terror, and Jay Reddy, former MK Ayelet Nachmias Verbin, and finally, President of the New South Wales Jewish Board of Deputies, our dear friend David Ossip, and yes, and President of the New South Wales UIA and co-host of this evening, Gary Perlstein. Thank you, leaders, volunteers, public servants, all people of goodwill, members of this wonderful community. I will never forget the early reports I received in Jerusalem about a mass shooting in Sydney. First, we heard it was at the iconic Bondi Beach. And then we learned this terror attack targeted the Jewish community gathered for the first light of Hanukkah. Jewish hearts around the world missed a beat. By the time we lit the first candles in Jerusalem, darkness claimed the lives of 15 innocent people in Sydney. We will never forget the people we lost, the wounds that were suffered, the families that grieve. And we will never forget the extraordinary, ordinary people who demonstrated courage and humanity by running towards the fire to rescue strangers. Absolutely. To all the heroes of Bondi, those who lent a hand, those who prayed for their wounded neighbors, those who gave blood, those who brought flowers and wrote letters, those who sent a meal, those who embraced this incredible community, each and every one of you has the deep admiration, the respect, and the prayers of the Israeli people, for you are all the finest of Australia. Sisters and brothers, I know the tragedy of Bondi is not an isolated event. I know also that it follows 2 agonizing years for this community. Your Jewish identities became targets in Australia, just as you watched a massacre unfold in Israel. At 6:29 a.m. on October 7th, Simchat Torah, Hamas launched a savage war on Israel. Thousands of bloodthirsty jihadist terrorists swarmed into our sovereign state. The devastating trauma impacted every city, every community, every single family in the state of Israel. Every Israeli knows somebody who was killed, abducted, wounded, or abused. Entire families were wiped out. 251 men, women, and children were taken hostage into the dungeons of Hamas in Gaza. Israel was broken-hearted. The Jewish Democratic State of Israel was fighting to defend itself in a war we did not seek. We did not choose that war. 2 weeks ago, after 843 long days of battle, of heroism, of our soldiers and people, our last hostage, our hero, Ran Gvili, returned home. Israel was finally united with all our fallen sons and daughters. Only now are we beginning to process this terrible trauma. Only now can we allow ourselves to truly mourn the nearly 2,000 people we lost. Friends, the hatred that triggered the shooting at Bondi is the very same age-old plague of anti-Semitism endured by our parents and grandparents. It began long before October 7th, generations before the State of Israel was born. Yet somehow, the October 7th massacre, the greatest mass murder of Jews since the Shoah, emboldened closeted anti-Semites here in Australia and all around the world. The horrors in Israel, empowered by jihadi extremism to rear its ugly head here in the country that welcomed thousands and thousands of survivors of the Holocaust, refugees of pogroms, Jews re-emerging behind the Iron Curtain. This is what it means to globalize the Intifada. We all recall the sickening chants near the Opera House, the firebombing of Atas Israel Synagogue in Melbourne, the boycotts and threats, the colleagues who turned their backs on their Jewish and Israeli associates, the attacks on college campuses, the escalating rhetoric and shrieking silence. That was the prelude to Bondi. Nobel laureate Elie Wiesel once taught us, to remain silent and indifferent is the greatest sin of all. Indeed, the silence, the breach of faith and breach of friendships, were the insult added to the injury. This is why, dear friends, we are here in Sydney today. Why we had to come. We had to be here with you, hug you, strengthen you, and tell you, Am Yisrael Chai. I wish to explain. Throughout the war in Israel, Michal and I paid Shiva calls and met with over 1,600 bereaved families. Two of them are here with us tonight. Izhar Lifshitz, son of Oded and Yochevet. Yochevet was 85 when she was taken hostage to Gaza from near Oz and returned. And Oded, 86, his body was returned after hundreds of days. And Noah and Itzik Bunzel, parents of a war hero, Amit Bunzel, from the paratroopers, who was killed while searching and trying to rescue the hostages. Day after day after day, we visited injured civilians and soldiers, deeply traumatized children and first responders, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Bedouins, Druze, the entire beautiful tapestry of Israel, as well as dozens of foreign nationals. We saw them all. We insisted on meeting these families in person so that we could look them in the eye as they share the pain, the anger, and the shock. Because there are certain emotions one can only fully convey through action, only by showing up. And so, in the wake of the horror at Bondi Beach, Michal and I felt we must come to Australia to look you in the eye, to show up for you. We've come here not simply to tell you that we are with you, but to show you that we are with you. We are here to tell you, dear family, Mishpacha Ahuva, we have come from the land of Israel, from the beating heart of our people in Jerusalem, from your sisters and brothers, to demonstrate our solidarity, our love, and our might and our heart, body, and soul. We are here to express that you, the Jews of Australia, are as much part of Israel as Israel is part of you. We've come to declare you are not alone. We've come to be with you just as you have always shown up for us. Australian Jewry has been with us in our greatest hours of need. This community is inspirational in its connection to Israel, in its proactive Zionism. You carry your Jewish identities with pride, and I embrace the opportunity to recognize this incredible community, your contribution to Australia and to the people of Israel. I view my visit here as an opportunity to tell the real story of who we are all as people and as a nation. And I'm here also to reinvigorate the important relations between our two strong democracies. I know that by working together, We will find the way to expand collaboration and increase understandings and upgrade our relations, and I intend during my visit to discuss it with your national leadership. So, dear friends, 40 years ago, as was mentioned, my late parents, Chaim and Ora Herzog, Zichram Levracha, traveled to Australia on the first state visit of an Israeli president and first lady. When they arrived at the Central Synagogue at Bondi, my parents were greeted by 1,000 Jewish children singing and waving flags. Now I know, I wrote originally that I'm sure some of those young children are with us here tonight. Well, one of them, of course, is young Jeremy Liebler. Because for Australian Jewry, multi-generational Jewish engagement is an ongoing family tradition. Australian Jews have a deep sense of purpose and a strong and proud sense of history. The history that connects our nations, Australia and Israel, is a history of Anzac's liberation of Beersheba and the land of Israel, which led later to the nation-state of Israel. The history of offering refuge to survivors of the Shoah. The history of casting the first UN vote in favor of the nation-state of the Jewish people with the immortal words, Australia, yes. Our nations are bound by this history, by decades of close friendships, by this outstanding Jewish community, and now, dear friends, unfortunately bound by tragedy as well. Together we grieve, together we remember, and together we will build a safer future we can all share together. I thank you all, and I salute the many leaders in this room. I salute the unsung heroes of all ages, the patriots, the kind neighbors, the good people of Sydney, the good people of Australia. To each and every one of you, I say in conclusion, Australia, yes. Yes to thriving Jewish communities. Yes to respecting those who believe and practice. Yes to safeguarding communities of every background, color, religion, and accent, as was beautifully drawn by our dear friend in the beginning of this event. Yes to dialing down hateful rhetoric. Yes to rebuilding trust and renewing faith. Yes to responsible leadership. Yes to moral clarity. Yes to clear, proactive measures. Yes to mutual responsibility. Yes to a resilient Israel. Yes to strong bipartisan relations between Israel and Australia. And as we say in Hebrew, Chizku ve'imtzu, Am Israel Chai. Thank you. Thank you.